Last time we left off, we had you thinking about this Nintendo Wii Remote. We had you thinking about if you were going to make this out of clay, how would you start? What would you do? What would you be your strategy? You're the problem solver. You have to make this out of clay. What would you do? And then apply that to our 3D modeling. So we're going to make this together with our 3D modeling program. So you're going to go step by step with me. There are a couple of different options. You can go through and watch this whole thing, or you can stick with me step by step. It's your choice. However you want to do it. Again, you can go back and pause it or whatever. Track backwards, pause, whatever you got to do to stick with us here. So we're going to make this together roughly on Autodesk Inventor. With us today, we have a special guest. His name is Artie. Hey, my name is Artie. Artie, how you doing today? I'm doing very well. Artie, where do you live? Wisconsin. Really? So lots of pirates in Wisconsin, huh? More than you think. Shiver me timbers, yar, mateys. Thanks, Artie, for joining us today. Now, let's get started. First thing we do is we go to New File. We go to Standard Part because we're making a part. We go Create. We're going to create that part. We go to 2D Sketch. We're going to start with 2 dimensions. We have to tell the computer 2 dimensions, and then we're going to give it a 3rd dimension. When I say dimension, I mean axes. So let's start. These are different axes and planes. So this is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. This is the z-axis. I know that from this down here. X, Y, Z. Let's just get going here. I click here. Let's start making this baby. Artie, I need some measurements, buddy. Yar! Grab the tape measure. Ah. So, let's just do some measurements. We got 6 inches here. Thank you, Artie. It's 6 inches long by about 1.5 inches wide. So it's about 6 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. And that shape, so we're doing this like top-down view right now. This view here, that shape, of course, would be a rectangle. We'll worry about the rounded corners later. Let's start with the main shape. And we're going to go this way. 6 inches long. I type in 6. Enter. Bam. I'm doing the rectangle tool. I zoom out with the mouse wheel. I zoom in a little bit. I can click the mouse wheel down to drag the screen. I click dimension. I got to get this dimension. I got the X. The X is 6. But look, it looks long and skinny, so I got to change this here. 1.5. 1.5. I use the dimension tool to do that. I press enter. I am done with my 2D sketch. I want to finish my sketch. I have the X plane and I have the Z plane. Right, Artie? Yarr! So then now I got to get the last one I have to do is the Y. To do that, I have to finish my sketch to get out of here. I zoom out with the mouse wheel. I move this around a little bit, get that centered. And I extrude. I click extrude. Extrude means let's get some thickness on there. I'm going to do that in the Y-axis. I click extrude, and then this is going to be 1. You're going to measure that again, Artie. Come on, let's go. That's going to be 1.25 about, so I can type in 1.25. Thank you, Artie. And then, now we have our basic shape. So now, my strategy, I should have said this before, my strategy is I want to make this main shape, and then I'm going to cut away the other parts from it. So I'm going to cut away this part here. I'm not going to worry about this button so much, but I'm going to cut away this shape here. So I'm going to do a 2D sketch on the side of this part. So now we're starting to cut away. This is our chunk of clay. Let's cut away. Doing a 2D sketch. So now I'm looking at the Y and the X axes, and I'm going to draw that arc. I already need a measurement here. How far, about how deep is that cut? Looks to be about a 1/2 inch. So what I can do is I can put a line here. I'm going to cut in. It's a 1/2 inch up. So I click the dimension tool, 0.5, and then we're going to measure. Just again, we're being really rough right now. We normally want to be more precise. It is this. It's kind of straight. It's about 1 inch in. We're going to make this about 1 inch in, 1.0, like that. And then this arcs down. We're just gonna, again, we're gonna be rough. We're gonna make just an arc. Try and get it close. Okay. Now we're gonna cut shapes away. Right now, this is not a shape. This is just a line. So this is very important. This is not a shape right now. This right here is just a line. It's a straight line with an arc. We need to close it off to make it a shape. So check this out. I'm going to close it off. Bam, 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 bam. Like this. Zoom in if it's not. There we go. Now that is a closed shape. If it's not closed, I won't be able to move on to the next step. So I finish my sketch. Bam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this shape out. That shape is going to go whoosh in. It's going to, on the Z axis, it's going to cut away on the Z axis. So I'm going to extrude this new shape that I just made. I'm going to extrude it as a cut. Notice I can click cut. I click OK, and I can choose the depth of my cut. It's going to go all the way through. There you go. Bam. All right. Look at that. What do you think, Artie? Is that pretty good so far? Okay. Now, moving on. So, oh, that didn't go all the way through. We got to adjust that. So I double click here, and I got to make the, let's just, it can be bigger, that's okay. So, there. Now that's all the way through. We can start rounding some of these edges. We can start rounding some of these edges. What are you doing, Artie? What are you doing? Hey, you can't touch, stop it. You can't touch my mouse. That's one of our rules. You're not supposed to touch my mouse. I break the rules. Artie, you gotta follow the rules, buddy. Come on. Alright, moving on. So far, there is our Wii Remote. Now, let's change the color. I can change the color up here where it says default. I can change, I click that, and let's go down. Let's see if we got white. Just normal white. There's our white. Let's start adding some other parts to it. Let's just add a button. So I do a 2D sketch on the top. Again, we are being really rough. I'm going really quick here. I'd want to be more precise and put better dimensions on here and so on. So if you notice, we have this, if we have this dashed line. I click here because I know that's the center. I'm just going to guess and say that's 0.25 inches. And then there's another one in line with that, and that's also going to be 0.25 inches. There's another button. It's larger. It's in the middle. We're going to wait for that one and these other buttons here. Let's just do these two first. So again, this is just kind of quick and rough. We'd want to be more precise with this. I can control click to do both those at the same time. So I held control and I controlled click. And let's say that those stick out. Let's just say 1/8 of an inch. So I can actually type 1/8. There we go. And I can actually round the corners of this stuff now. So this is a rounded corner. This is a rounded corner. I can, to make this a little faster, I can control click to select multiple corners. And I can round those. So far we're getting there. It's here. We don't want it that much. Let's try 0.05. Let's do the little bit bigger button on the top. The A button. So that A button, again, I'd want to measure how far down it is and where it goes. So the shape is, of course, a circle. For the interest of time, I'm not going to measure right now. And that one's a little bit bigger. That one looks like about 1/2 inch. So I do 0.5. There's our circle. And I finish my 2D sketch. Extrude that up. And that one sticks up about 1/8 as well. We're going to round that edge like that. Hey, we're looking pretty good. Let's do one more thing. Let's get that D-pad. So let's get this. Actually, we're going to do two more things. Let's get this D-pad now. Let's get the D-pad on here. So I do 2D sketch right here. I can make a rectangle. And then another rectangle. Again, this is just quick and sloppy. This isn't We're not necessarily being pretty. These other lines, what I did is I just clicked trim, and I'm deleting these inside lines out of here. I'm going to finish my sketch, and we're going to extrude this 1/8 of an inch. We're okay there. Let's say it's a little rounded. Now, let's not worry about that. So there are very rough remote. If we look at the very back view here, the bottom is rounded. So this bottom of this is rounded. So here's how we're going to do that. So I'm looking at this here. I'm going to do 2D sketch, and I'm going to draw an arc. Again, I'd be measuring it. If I want to be more precise, I'd really be measuring this. We're just going quick and rough here. I'm going to draw an arc about halfway through, and then I'm going to bring that down like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out, so right now that's just a line, and I got to make a shape. I'm going to cut this shape out. Oh, look, I'm kind of messed up there. That's not going to work. I have to left click that line. I can press delete. I deleted that line. I go back and make the line again, close it off. Finish the sketch. Extrude this shape out. We're going to extrude it again as a cut. We need to go further than 1/8. We're going the whole length of the remote. The remote was like 6 inches, so I'm just going to type in 7, make sure we go all the way. Try this out. I want you to just do your best. And if you need help, remember we have procedures in place. Remember our Autodesk Inventor, our 3D modeling guidelines and procedures. So make sure we're following along with those. Try and help yourself before you ask for help. I went very fast for this. There will be more lessons that go a little bit slower and kind of explain a little bit better each step of what we just did. I just wanted you to get your hands on this and start to make something. I just wanted you to be able to try and make something at this point before we start talking about more in detail about the different features of the program and so on. So I greatly appreciate your efforts and your persistence, and I already say bye to everybody. Bye. Walk the plank, mateys.